Given the gravity, persistence and impact of this offending, I have no doubt that neither a fine alone nor a community order can be justified, and that the custody threshold is crossed. There will be concurrent terms of imprisonment for each of these associated offences, the sentences for each reflecting your overall offending and recognising the principle of totality. However, applying the imposition guideline and carrying out the required balancing exercise, I'm satisfied that it's not necessary for those custodial terms to be served immediately. In light of the steps you have taken, I am persuaded that there is some prospect of rehabilitation, that an immediate custodial sentence is not required to protect either the public or the victims, and that a suspended sentence order may itself operate as a deterrent against any future offending by you. For each of these offences, I impose a suspended sentence order of 18 months duration. On counts 2 and 4, the racially aggravated offences, there will be custodial terms of 6 months, and on counts 6, 8, 9 and 10, custodial terms of 4 months, all such terms to run concurrently, and all suspended for a period of 18 months. If during that 18-month period you commit any further offence, whether or not of the same type, you will be brought back before the court, and it is likely that you will be required to serve some or all of that total 6-month period. That, of course, is not an end of the matter. For the next 12 months, you will be subject to a rehabilitation activity requirement of up to 20 days, and you are required to complete 200 hours of unpaid work in the community.
In a political climate increasingly defined by online outrage and weaponized rhetoric, the suspended custodial sentence handed to former footballer Joey Barton has become more than just a celebrity court story. It is a warning shot across the bows of Britain's ongoing debate about free speech, accountability, and the culture of impunity that thrives on social media. Barton, once an England international and now a self-styled online provocateur, received a 6-month custodial sentence, suspended for 18 months for a series of offensive posts published between January and March 2024. The ruling, delivered by Judge Andrew Menery Kesey, distilled the conflict at the heart of modern political discourse. Where exactly does free speech end and targeted harassment begin? Menery did not shy away from defining that boundary. Robust debate, satire, mockery, and even crude language may fall within permissible free speech, he said. But when posts deliberately target individuals with vilifying comparisons to serial killers or false insinuations of pedophilia designed to humiliate and distress, they forfeit their protection. It was a statement that sounded less like judicial reprimand and more like commentary on the state of public life. Barton's online conduct, inflammatory, obsessive, and aimed squarely at private individuals, mirrors a broader political trend in which online platforms are used not for debate, but for dehumanization. What once passed as punditry has, in some corners of British political culture, become outright character assassination. Ultimately, Barton's suspended sentence may foreshadow a new era in which public figures, whether athletes, media personalities, or political commentators, face real consequences for weaponizing their platforms. And in a Britain already polarized to breaking point, the judgment forces a collective question. Is the country prepared to draw hard lines around the digital culture it has allowed to flourish, or will it continue to let performative cruelty masquerade as free speech? Either way, Barton's courtroom reckoning is more than a punishment. It is a political moment, a small but significant recalibration of the boundaries that define civil discourse in the digital age.
Matthew, in about 15 minutes' time, we're expecting this petition to be debated in Parliament. Why are you so vehemently against digital ID in Britain?
Well, digital ID in Britain would be a revolution in our relationship between the citizen and the state. The Prime Minister might be pitching this as a means to make employment verification much easier, but I don't think you need to have much of an imagination to think about how this could become very, very worrying if applied to other parts of our lives. And in fact, the government has not been exactly clear. We've had the conflicting messages about what this will be used for. But imagine this sort of scheme if it was around in February 2020, or given in the last year how enthusiastic the government has been to age gate whole parts of the internet. So I think not only is it unlikely that this scheme will not succeed in its stated goals, but it is a significant threat to our civil liberties.
For those listening in on radio, there's some rather chilling pictures from your protests here earlier on, Matthew Feeney. A giant smartphone with a cutout in the middle of Sir Keir Starmer's mush. And it says on there, Keir Rodney Starmer, of course, his full name. So you're fearful that we're going to become walking QR codes, a barcode society, Matthew Feeney, harking back to the days of COVID lockdowns, where you had to show your papers or beep your phone just to get in the boozer.
Yeah, well, this country has thankfully traditionally not been a papers, please society. The last time we had anything like this was during World War II. But that's a very telling example. There was promised that it would only be something implemented during wartime, but it took until the 1950s for us to get our freedoms back. And so anyone telling you that a mandatory digital ID will only be used in certain circumstances just needs to take a look at history. These kind of schemes very rarely stay in the box they arrived in. And
come off it.
To pandemics, terrorist attacks, and other tragedies, this sort of thing looks very attractive to governments.
Oh, come off it, Matthew Feeney. I'm in the studio with Martin, Christopher Hope here. You said there, social media access denied on that sign, medical history leaked. I mean, I think we are getting into a place where these are the conspiracy theorists gone wild, aren't we? I mean, why would you be denied social media access by the government?
Oh, I don't think it's engaging in conspiracy theories. We're just going off what the government has said. We know that at least one minister has said that they want this to be the foundation of the revolution to upend the legacy state. We've already seen the government being enthusiastic about age-gating the internet by requiring people to see legal content online, to upload their faces or to verify their age. So it's not at all conspiratorial or hyperbolic to think that a mandatory digital scheme for all people who want to work in the UK could be used for all different kinds of things in public services. And I want to stress, we actually don't have a codified real plan at the moment yet. It's not clear at what age this will be required, if it's everyone who wants to work, or all kinds of details that I hope will be unveiled in the coming debate. But no, I don't think it's hyperbolic or conspiratorial to base comments just on what the government or its ministers have said.
Matthew Feeney, it's about financial choices as well, this debate. I mean, this sum of money, £1.8 billion, is a huge sum of money. That's more than the winter fuel allowance cut. It's 3 times more than the inheritance tax hikes on British farmers. We were told this would be free. It might be free at the point of use, but that's a lot of wonga for taxpayers to be bankrolling this.
It's a lot of money, and like many government projects, I imagine it will be over budget and take longer than required. What I think is important to point out, though, is that this is being pitched and ultimately as an efficiency gain, but the government hasn't made the argument, I think convincingly, that this will save money on the front end. I think the answer to dealing with illegal immigration or employment fraud is not to put tens of millions of people into a digital ID scheme, especially given the history of government shambles when it comes to digital infrastructure and leaks and so forth. This is not the right approach to a problem that I think many people are concerned about, but we really shouldn't be sacrificing our civil liberties in this way.